Imagine hiking deep into a desert, jungle, or mountain range and stumbling across a massive stone monument that looks like it was built by giants. No roads, no cities, no explanation for why it's there. Just an ancient structure that feels completely out of place. These mysterious discoveries leave archaeologists and explorers scratching their heads. Today we're counting down the top ancient monuments found in the middle of nowhere. Carved straight down into solid rock, the Kailasa temple looks like an entire mountain was hollowed out by hand. Located at the Ellora caves, this temple is so remote that for centuries it sat hidden from most of the world. What makes it even stranger is how it was built. Instead of stacking stone blocks, workers carved downward into basalt rock, removing over 200,000 tons of stones using nothing more than chisels and hammers around the 8th century. The sheer scale of this effort would have taken decades, maybe even centuries, and yet there's no record of exactly how it was done. The temple is filled with intricate carvings of gods, animals, and mythological scenes that still hold their shape today. Many researchers compare their precision to modern engineering, but it was done with primitive tools. Some suggest thousands of workers labored tirelessly, while others wonder if advanced methods were lost to history. To this day, this temple remains one of the largest rock-cut temples on Earth, sitting in the middle of a rugged landscape far from major cities. One of my favorite places to talk about, Göbeklitepe. On a barren hilltop in southern Turkey, archaeologists unearthed something that completely rewrote history. Göbeklitepe is a series of massive stone circles dating back over 11,000 years, older than Stonehenge and even the pyramids. Each T-shaped pillar weighs up to 10 tons and is covered in carvings of animals like lions, vultures, and snakes. The site predates agriculture, meaning it was built by hunter-gatherers who supposedly lacked the organization and resources to create something this complex. That fact alone shocked the archaeological community. Even stranger, the site was intentionally buried around 8000 BC, preserving it until it was rediscovered in the 1990s. Why anyone would bury a place of such importance is a mystery in itself. Its location adds to the mystery, sitting in a remote region surrounded by rolling hills with no evidence of large settlements nearby. Its existence forces us to rethink what early humans were capable of. Rising 600 feet above the Sri Lankan jungle, Sigiriya is a massive rock fortress that looks like something out of a fantasy story. In the 5th century, a king built an entire palace on top of the rock, complete with gardens, frescoes, and even a mirrored wall polished so smooth that the king could see his reflection in it. Archaeologists believe the fortress was designed not just as a royal palace, but also as a defensive stronghold. Today, reaching the top still requires climbing narrow staircases that wind along cliffs with sheer drops below. From the summit, the view stretches endlessly across jungle and farmland, reinforcing how isolated the structure really is. Building something like this in such a location was a near impossible feat for the time, especially considering the resources needed to carry materials up the rock. Its placement feels intentional, almost as if it was designed to be hidden from invaders and the rest of the outside world, preserved as a fortress in the middle of nowhere. In a granite quarry outside Aswan, far from the Great Pyramids and temples, lies an unfinished obelisk, still attached to the... If completed, it would have stood nearly 100 feet tall and weighed 1,200 tons, making it the largest obelisk ever attempted. But during construction, cracks appeared in the stone and the project was abandoned. What's left behind is almost more fascinating than a finished monument. You can still see tool marks carved into the stone, offering rare clues into ancient Egyptian construction methods. Historians believe obelisks like this were meant to honor gods or commemorate pharaohs, but moving one of this size remains a mystery. Even with modern cranes, transporting a single 1,200-ton block would be a challenge. The quarry itself sits in a remote part of southern Egypt, far from the Nile's major centers of power, making this unfinished monument one of the strangest ancient relics that never left the middle of nowhere. Hidden in the hills of southeastern Zimbabwe lies a sprawling stone city that once housed up to 20,000 people. Built between the 11th and 15th centuries, Great Zimbabwe is made entirely of dry stone walls, some towering over 30 feet high and stretching for hundreds of feet without mortar. These walls were so carefully constructed that many still stand today. The city was once the heart of a powerful kingdom, rich from trade in gold and ivory, and yet its remote location still puzzles researchers. When Europeans stumbled upon the site in the 1800s, they refused to believe local Africans had built it, instead attributing it to ancient outsiders like the Phoenicians or the Arabs. It wasn't until later that archaeology proved it was indeed built by the ancestors of the Shona people. Despite that, the site still raises questions about why such a massive city was constructed in rugged terrain, far from major trade routes. To this day, Great Zimbabwe remains one of Africa's most mysterious and isolated ancient cities. Imagine an entire city built on the ocean, made of massive basalt stone stacked into artificial islands. That is Madol, a ruined city off the coast of Micronesia. Nicknamed the Venice of the Pacific, it consists of nearly 100 islets connected by canals stretching across a lagoon. Built between the 12th and 17th centuries, the site required transporting stones weighing up to 50 tons each. The problem is that the people of the time had no cranes, no wheels, and no draft animals to help move such weight. To this day, no one knows exactly how the builders did it. Some theories suggest log rafts, others believe it required thousands of workers, and local legends even speak of magic. Madol is so isolated that it takes hours to reach it, even with modern travel. Surrounded by ocean and thick jungle, it feels abandoned in time, one of the most mysterious monuments ever built in the middle of nowhere. Stretching for miles across the countryside of Brittany in northwestern France are over 3,000 standing stones arranged in rows, circles, and clusters. Known as the Carnac stones, they date back nearly 7,000 years, making them older than most of Europe's famous prehistoric monuments. Some of the stones weigh up to 350 tons, and no one knows exactly why they were placed in such patterns. Theories range from astronomical alignments to religious ceremonies to ancient markers for burial sites. Unlike Stonehenge, which draws millions of visitors, the Carnac stones remain scattered across farmland and forests, blending into the quiet countryside. The sheer number and scale make them one of the strangest prehistoric monuments in Europe, especially considering the builders were Neolithic people with no advanced technology. To walk among them is to feel like you've stepped into a forgotten ritual landscape left behind in the middle of nowhere. High in the Andes of Bolivia, in one of the driest and most remote regions on Earth, lies a network of perfectly straight lines etched into the ground. Known as the sajama lines, these geoglyphs stretch across an area of more than 15,000 square miles, with some lines running up to 10 miles long. The lines are carved into the soil, some only a few inches deep, yet they have lasted for thousands of years thanks to the dry climate. Like the Nazca lines of Peru, they can only be fully appreciated from the air. Archaeologists believe they were created by indigenous people over 3,000 years ago, but their purpose is still debated. Were they ceremonial pathways used during rituals, astronomical markers to track the stars, or something else entirely? What's certain is that they exist in one of the most isolated landscapes imaginable, where the high altitude, freezing nights, and thin air make even survival difficult. Deep in the Ural Mountains of Russia, far from any cities, explorers have found massive stone blocks stacked into formations that look man-made. Some of these stones weigh hundreds of tons and appear to be cut with precision, giving the impression of ancient walls or platforms. Known as the Ural megaliths, this site has sparked heated debate. Mainstream archaeologists argue that they are natural formations shaped by erosion and geological forces, while others insist they show signs of deliberate human construction. Without large-scale excavation or detailed studies, the mystery remains unsolved. What adds to the intrigue is the isolation. The Ural Mountains are vast, cold, and rugged. On the small island of Malta, far from mainland Europe, stand temples older than the pyramids of Egypt. The Hagar temples were built around 36,000 BC using massive limestone blocks, some weighing over 20 tons. The temples feature doorways, altars, and carvings that align with the summer and winter solstice, proving that their builders had advanced knowledge of astronomy. What makes them incredible is not just their age, but their location. Malta is a small island in the Mediterranean, and yet thousands of years ago, people managed to transport and arrange these stones with remarkable precision. Alright guys, that has been our list for today. Thanks so much for checking it out. I've been your host today, Olivia Kozlovsky, and I will see you again soon. Goodbye.